Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel MILLIONAIRE.
Market your list right. Now that you have figured out your payload content, the next step is to understand what kind of giveaway you're going to have to use to get people to sign up for your mailing list. In an ideal world, people can see the value you bring to the table. They only need to look at the content you share as well as the crucial information they get from your premium content. They see this premium content and they see what you're about, what you have to offer, and why it's such a good idea to sign up to your mailing list. Unfortunately, things don't work out that way. Even if you have the very best blog posts and articles on your website, people still need a push to sign up to your mailing list. This is where incentives come in. You're going to offer free, high-quality premium content, but you're going to repackage it in a way that people would appreciate. Maybe you put in a book. Maybe you come up with some sort of cheat sheet or resource sheet. Or perhaps you can strip it all down into a booklet or even convert it into software form. Whatever the case may be, this premium free giveaway content is going to act as an incentive for people to join your mailing list. They get a copy of whatever it is you are giving away for free in exchange for their email. I call this an ethical bribe. You're bribing people to sign up to your list. Normally, they wouldn't. Only a very few people would take the time and bother to sign up for your list, regardless of how awesome your blog posts and articles are. That's just the reality. Finding out what to use as an incentive. I hope you can see the logic behind giving away freebies so people can sign up to your mailing list. People need a push. People need some sort of extra sweetener to get the deal going. They need something extra to get them off the fence and onto your mailing list. Now, the next step is to figure out what kind of incentive to give away so people would join your mailing list. The good news is, you don't have to start from scratch. You don't have to take wild guesses. You don't have to take shots in the dark. When you pay attention to your top-performing original content, you should have all of the information you need to come up with a compelling incentive. For example, if you run a gardening blog and you notice that a lot of people click on share and otherwise engage with your content on tomatoes, it's probably a good idea to come up with a free giveaway book on how to build your own inexpensive tomato greenhouse. You see how this works? Pay attention to your best-performing original content. Look at the questions they answer and look at the questions they fail to answer. This way, you can use your popular content as a launching area for your incentive content. You let your readers know that if they need more information, and they will because the content that they're enjoying are missing certain items, they should click on this link. That link, of course, is your squeeze page. The squeeze page advertises your giveaway and lists out the reasons why people would want to download that giveaway. It's pretty straightforward. You're just offering premium content that your other freely available content is already pointing to. They're pointing to that content because they don't contain that material. They do a good job of building credibility and authority. They do a great job adding value to the lives of your readers, but it's also obvious that there are certain parts that are missing. For those extra materials, they have to sign up. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost them a dime, but they need to sign up to your mailing list. This is how you set up your mailing list. It has to be closely tied to your premium content. Coming up with incentives or freebies that look like they came out of left field because they're unrelated to whatever it is you're currently doing is not a good idea. Chances are quite good that you're going to fail. When you come up with incentive content that is directly related to the materials you're already sharing, you create a feeling of value. There's also a feeling of exclusivity. After people have seen your content and have become aware of what you are and what your brand is about, you let them in on a special premium. This is a special deal that other people who haven't accessed your brand have no idea about. Position all your original content to push your mailing list first. To play up the value of your incentive content, you first have to promote the value of the mailing list. I know this sounds counterintuitive, but if you think about it, it makes all the sense in the world because in reality, it's the mailing list they're signing up for. The freebie that you're giving away is just a bribe. It's intended to get people to enter their email address and nothing more. If you were to use all your original content to play up the fact that people can get this additional content, don't be surprised if people sign up to your list and quickly unsubscribe because they really don't care about your list. Again, you're walking a tightrope here. On the one hand, you want people to get excited about the premium you're giving away for free in exchange for their email address. On the other hand, you want people to see the value that they would get by being members of your mailing list. This is how you should play it. All your original content should push your mailing list first. I'm not saying that you should not tie it into the incentive, but your original content should highlight the fact that when people join your mailing list, they will continue to get valuable information. This is the key, because when you use your tried and proven content to push mailing list membership, people are less likely to join your list and immediately unsubscribe. They are aware of the value that the list can possibly bring to their lives. You then play up the premium content as part of the membership. In other words, it's an extra. It's not the main focus of the list. Keep the list separate from the premiums you use to get people to sign up to your list. I hope this is clear because you want to play up the list first, but it must be obvious that you are using the premium content, whether it's a free book, a booklet, a cheat sheet, some sort of pre-recorded video, or something else, as a means to get people to make a decision. That's the bottom line. You want the incentive to push people to make a decision to join your list, but all your original content, and your website by extension, should push the reader to see the value of being a list member. A lot of social media marketers completely blow this. They think that it's all about marketing the incentive. Well, to continue with the example I raised earlier, what happens after you get people to sign up to your list in exchange for the greenhouse guide? That's right, nothing. Why? You played up the value of the greenhouse guide to such an extent that people are clueless as to what other value they would get from your mailing list. Indeed, don't be surprised if people start reporting your list as spam after you start sending them updates. They were so focused on getting the free book that the updates from your mailing list completely took them by surprise. This happens all the time because of faulty messaging on your blog or website. You cannot afford to play the game this way. You worked hard to pull all this social media traffic to your site. You spent a tremendous amount of time, effort, and resources to build a solid brand. Unfortunately, you're dropping the ball if you market your mailing list this way. You must sell the list first, but the incentive must be used to push people to make a decision. This is the proper order of priority. Anything else will fail. Set up your squeeze page for maximum social appeal. As I mentioned earlier, you should use your content to push your mailing list. You should use your content to upsell your squeeze page. But this doesn't mean that you can get away with badly designed squeeze pages. It's not going to cut it. Your squeeze page must be well designed. After all, this page is a specialized recruitment page. When people get on this page, you have to make the case as to why they should join your list, and not just for the incentive. While the incentive takes a big chunk of the real estate of a squeeze page, you should be clear about the fact that people are signing up to your list. With that said, you have to make your case. Why should people bother with your updates? Why should people stay on your mailing list? What kind of value would they get? Remember, people are always asking what's in it for me. Your squeeze page must answer that question effectively, clearly, and powerfully. Your squeeze page must be well designed enough to be able to make that connection, while at the same time, it must be easy to market on social media. Maybe you should have a graphic on your squeeze page that can be easily posted on Pinterest. Maybe you should have a video on your squeeze page that can be easily shared on YouTube. There are many ways you can go with this. What's crucial is that your squeeze page must be social media ready. At the same time, it should also do a good job of recruiting people. Set up the right confirmation page. When people join your list, thank them and make them feel welcome. You also have to clue them in regarding the content they should expect to receive. Make them feel that they just did the right thing. Make them feel that they solved a major problem. Not only do they get access to the digital freebie you're giving away, but they're also going to be receiving valuable information regarding a particular topic that they have problems with. This is how you sell the list. Simply hyping up and over-promoting the premium is not going to help you convert social media traffic into cash. That's just not going to happen. You have to sell the list. You have to build trust in the list. Unlock the power of repurposed content. I've already described this in an earlier video, but this topic is so important it deserves its own standalone video. When you create original content for your blog or website, you already know that this content has some sort of traction in your niche. You already know that there is a significant amount of demand for this particular type of content. Not only did you base your decision on the social signals of your reverse-engineered competitors' content, but you're also picking out content choices based on your own statistics. In other words, you're basing your best content on tried and proven material. You're not taking shots in the dark. You're not taking wild guesses. You're not crossing your fingers and hoping that something sticks. Instead, you have based your decision on what actually works. Congratulations, but you shouldn't stop there. Once you have noticed that this content really performs based on the amount of clicks as well as the social media engagement it gets, the next step is to repurpose that content. turn them into other types of content, and reshare them on platforms that specialize in those content types. For example, if your blog post is getting a lot of retweets and clicks, you might want to strip the blog post into questions. This isn't all that hard because if you look at any type of content, it consists of answers to questions. The questions may not be obvious. The questions may not be plainly stated, but the content is meant to address certain concerns. These concerns can be reworded into questions. Strip your most powerful and best performing content into a series of questions. Each question then is linked to the article or blog post that answers it. Tweet these and pair them with niche-specific hashtags. By using automation tools, you can rotate different questions that essentially promote the same piece of content. Since you're rotating hashtags, there's a high chance that different people looking for different segments of your niche would become aware of your tweet and possibly click through. Another thing you can do is turn your article into slideshows. Each article brings to mind many different mental images. Come up with different pictures for each of the topics raised by your article and create a simple slideshow using PowerPoint. Share these PowerPoint presentations on SlideShare. You can also use other tools to create a video from your slideshows. Once you've created these videos, you can obviously share them on YouTube. Alternatively, you can look through the issues you raised in your blog post and turn them into infographics. Infographics are essentially stripped-down graphical forms of articles or blog posts. They focus on the most important points you raised and make them easier to understand by the viewer by converting them into pictures. Share these infographics on Pinterest. Finally, you should make sure that all your blog posts or articles have a nice header picture. This way, when you load the link on Facebook, a nice preview shows up. It grabs eyeballs and people are excited to share the content. On Facebook, you have a wide range of content formats to choose from. You can share links, videos, infographics, photos, diagrams, and even audio files. After you share materials on your Facebook page, you should then get the link to that post and then share that Facebook page link in Facebook groups that cater to your niche or a related niche. This is how you unlock the power of repurposed content. If you play the game this way, you spend less time creating content and more time promoting. Promotion is the name of the game. You may have great content, but it's not going to do you much good if people don't even know it exists. For every hour you spend creating content, you should spend 10 hours promoting that piece of content. This is how you build up a successful mailing list. This is how you create a solid brand on social media. Start with powerful content, but create different versions and spread it on many different social media platforms. Use automatic content sharing. Before I get into content sharing automation, I want to highlight one other important reason why you should repurpose your content. If your audience members keep seeing that you talk about the same stuff over and over again, chances are you will lose them. People want to hear new stuff. People want you to explore other related needs of theirs. They don't want you to basically keep recycling the same stuff over and over again. Unfortunately, that's precisely the kind of risk you're running if you simply focus on giving people more of the same successful stuff. You know that a particular content theme works. You know it gets a lot of engagement. You know that it draws a lot of clicks. It's perfectly natural for you to want to keep recycling that same theme. Don't do it. Focus on the very best way to present that theme and stick with it. Just do it a few times, but focus more on repurposing. This way, when people get into contact with your content, they can see that you are talking about something that appeals to them, but in different formats. They are more likely to pay attention. They're more likely to click through. They're more likely to share. Keep this in mind when it comes to repurposing. Don't think that Video 11 is completely optional. It isn't. You want your social media feeds to consist of highly successful content as much as possible. It really would be a shame to figure out what works, only for you to get lazy and just focus on text content. I'm sorry to say it, but text content can only take you so far, which brings me to content sharing automation. Since you're going to be sharing a lot of content, and much of this content being third-party as well as original and repurposed content, you're probably going to have your hands full if you decide to do this manually. First of all, since you're going to be covering many different platforms and sharing different formats on those platforms, you have a lot of forms to fill out over and over again. Sure, you may have created an account, one for each of those platforms, but submitting to those places requires you to fill in forms. Posting on Facebook involves form filling. Now, if you really don't have that much content to share, this should be barely manageable. But if you're looking to maximize your visibility by publishing on your social media accounts several times a day, you need to automate. Unfortunately, simply plugging in information into content publishing tools is not going to do you much good. You have to know when to publish. Believe it or not, the vast majority of your target audience members check their Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and YouTube accounts within a certain block of time every single day. Post outside of that block of time and you miss the eyeballs of the vast majority of your audience members. Sounds good so far, right? Well, here's the problem. Different audiences have different time preferences. How would you know? This is where experimentation comes in. First, you're going to have to share your content randomly at different times of the day. As much as possible, share content every hour. Set your content automation tools to publish every hour. Let this run for about a week or two. After the experimental period is over, check your stats. Facebook Insights, for example, will tell you when most of your page fans checked out your content. Armed with this information, you should set up your automated software to publish your content in a cluster to fit those optimal times. For example, in the experimental stage, you're publishing one piece of content every hour. That's 24 pieces of content spread out over a full 24 hours. After you checked Facebook Insight, it turned out that 80% of your content views actually take place between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. You then take those 24 posts and compress them within that 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. window. This is how you publish in clusters. Forget time blocks outside of that time frame. This way, you maximize your chances of the right eyeballs seeing your content. Special notes for Twitter. If you're going to be publishing on Twitter, republish your content many times during the day at the most optimal time frame. Facebook Insight already told you that your content is being viewed within a specific time frame. Chances are your Twitter fans have the same social media viewing habits. Stick to that time frame. Now, here's the secret. Set up your automated content publishing tools to tweet out your best content many times during that time frame, but you also have to rotate different hashtags. This way, you can reach different people looking for hashtags that are related to different subsegments of your niche. Special notes for Facebook. When publishing to your Facebook page, don't hesitate to publish original content that you have published before. Try to avoid publishing only once. Instead, you should sandwich or schedule this republished successful content in between high-quality, curated content. This way, people get more exposure to your best content. Once they click through, you get yet another chance to recruit them to your mailing list. Remember, when you share high-quality third-party content, you're not getting the traffic. You're building credibility, but you're not getting potential list members to your squeeze page. That's just not happening. When you share your own original content, you get a chance to recruit them to your squeeze page. Keep this distinction in mind. This is the reason why you should republish your most successful content by interspersing it with top-rated, curated content. Scale up your targeting. When you're publishing on Facebook and Twitter, you can use hashtags. This is definitely true with Instagram. Regardless of the platform you're on, make sure you play around with how you categorize or tag your content. In any niche, there are many different tags available. Experiment with these. See which tags get the most attention from the social media platform you're sharing a piece of content on. Of course, you're not going to find the magical combination of hashtags overnight. That's not going to happen. This is one of those things that you're going to have to find out by doing it over a long period of time. Still, when you run these experiments, a pattern should emerge. Sooner or later, you would discover that certain hashtags produce a lot more results than others. They draw a lot more eyeballs. They get a lot more attention. Most importantly, they get a lot more engagement. Stick with those. Experiment with tagging niche-focused influencers. When you're doing research on hashtags on Twitter, for example, you would be able to find influencers that specialize in those hashtags. These people just love to post content related to certain topics. They use a narrow range of hashtags every time they post. It seems that's all they focus on. Find these people. Look at their content. Are people retweeting them a lot? Are they getting a lot of love for their content? Do they get a lot of engagement? Are people responding via Twitter? It should be fairly easy to see which accounts are influential in your niche and which aren't. Don't just focus on how many followers they have. Instead, look at the total amount of engagement they get, and also pay attention to the ratio of followers they have to the number of accounts they follow. For example, if I find Mike Smith to be a big poster in my niche because it seems that he just seems to rotate among the 10 hashtags that are most relevant to my niche, I look at his followers in relation to the number of accounts he's following. If he's only following one person, yet he's being followed by 15,000 people, Mike Smith might be an influential person. I say that he might be because I'm also going to have a look at the engagement levels of his posts. Are his posts getting a lot of retweets? Are a lot of people responding? Are a lot of people clicking the heart icon? If his content has these factors, then his account is probably worth following. Most importantly, you should tag influential people on Twitter when you post. You use your most powerful hashtags and you mention them in your post. This can help you get on their radar. These people would be put on notice that you are also sharing content that is similar to the stuff that they are interested in. If they check out your stuff and they like what they see, don't be surprised if they share your content with their following. Engage with them. Let them know about your questions or suggestions. In fact, you should engage with them so much that you can possibly create a relationship where they would publish your guest posts if they're bloggers, or discuss whatever it is you're doing on their social media platforms. At the very least, when you partner with them, they become part of your content distribution network. In fact, a lot of them can even get you interviewed on influential blogs in your niche. Don't think that influencer engagement is simply restricted to tagging people. That's just the beginning. That's actually the tip of the iceberg. They can do so much more for you. You just have to continuously engage them and be social. This doesn't mean that you have to kiss their butt. This doesn't mean that your stock response to all of their posts is amazing post or great post, I love it. That's not going to work. That's not going to push the ball far enough. You have to actually engage. And oftentimes, this might seem like you're criticizing them. This might seem that you are offering a negative view, but you need to get their attention. You need to bring home the point that you actually know your stuff and that you are also credible in the same niche space. That's how you get them to take you seriously. That's the kind of engagement that builds respect. Otherwise, you're just going to look like another member of the choir. They really don't have any incentive to interview you or post your guest content. Why should they? You're not really sharing any information or suggesting any points of view that are different or distinctive. Experiment with paid traffic. Only after you have spent a lot of time drumming up free traffic from social media marketing should you even think of buying traffic. I know this sounds a bit extreme, but it's the absolute truth. Why? Well, in the beginning, you don't know when your target audience members will be reading your content. In the beginning, you don't know what their demographic breakdown looks like. How many males compared to females are in your audience pool? Do males or females like certain types of content that you share? What are their age ranges? Where are they located? I hope you see the big picture here. You have to use free traffic to do initial audience intelligence. Once you've gotten all these important insights, you can then start paying for Facebook ads and other platforms' ads. If you start any earlier than this point, you probably would end up wasting your money. Study your statistics first. Pay close attention to audience patterns. Take out ads based on these patterns.